Our people are scattered, like stars in the galaxy. What are we? What do we stand for? Hang on, kid. This is the way.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This is The Way. This will be my Mandalorian Season 3 Episode 4 video. They released some new footage, and there are a bunch of big cliffhangers they left on to pay off, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. And careful for spoilers for everything that's happened so far if you're not caught up. At the end of Episode 3, though, Bo-Katan looked like she'd finally gotten her wish for a family, but maybe accidentally joining Mando's cult to watch. Like, she was really quiet there, like, wait a minute, what just happened? It's like something out of Arrested Development in space. Bo-Katan suddenly realized she may have just joined her boyfriend's space cult.
You may leave anytime you wish.
We finally have some context for these scenes of the Armorers group all attacking on this planet here. It seems that they're dropping out of Bo-Katan's Mandalorian ship because now she's working with them. She's now part of their covert. So by Episode 4, she's busy going on missions with them. You can let me know in the comments who you think they're attacking on this planet because it looks kind of like Navarro. As much as we joke about the Armorers group being so hardcore, Katee Sackhoff actually said in real life one of the big things with Bo-Katan this season is that she's been living in her family's ancestral palace on their homeworld Kalevala alone, the one that just got destroyed by the Empire. Since the end of Mandalorian Season 2, alone, like she'd been living there by herself the whole time. She even complained to Mando about that. I want to be alone, leave me alone. But Katee Sackhoff said what was really going on, what you didn't actually see on screen, was that she had been so angry at Mando talking about wanting to be alone because she did not want to be alone. Like it was a lady doth protest too much situation. She really did want a family because she believed the Night Owls were her family and they deserted her, basically. So it's not so much about Bo-Katan wanting all this power because people are wondering about what's going on with the Darksaber. Does she still want that? Is she trying to take over the Armorers group now? At least according to Katee Sackhoff, it's more about Bo-Katan finding the family that she felt like she lost. We've been making all the jokes the last couple episodes about her being Grogu's new space mom, making him all kinds of Mandalorian treats, all that pog soup. Mando's like his space dad. They even posted some promos of her at Disneyland with Mando, like mom and dad taking the kid to Disneyland. And the whole idea is at the end of Episode 3, she basically gets that family. For those of you also asking if Grogu is going to speak, like actually talk this season, the way that Jon Favreau talks about it is that Grogu might already be speaking, so I think the gurgling sounds that he made in Episode 3 is the closest we'll see to him actually speaking this season. Like he'll just do more of that kind of stuff. But a big part, especially in Episode 4, I think is the idea that she's going to want to win back the Night Owls because she still wants to retake the planet Mandalore from the Empire and fight the Empire itself. That's where the real dichotomy between her and the Armor is. Like, even though she's coming around on the way, so to speak, like this is the way she saw the Mythosaur. According to Katee Sackhoff, that's still genuine. She's slowly coming around, believing in their line of thought, but she hasn't like completely done a 180 yet. She's still skeptical about some of their more hardcore beliefs. Like, do we really need to keep our helmets on this entire time? Do I have to sleep with this helmet on? If you remember, they are allowed to take their helmets off as long as they're by themselves. And if they become married pairs inside their sect there, they can take their helmets off when they're together getting it on. But the whole idea is that she came back at the end of Season 2 to the Night Owls on Kalevala there where they've been living. They saw that she didn't have the Darksaber, they didn't believe that she was a worthy leader anymore, and decided to take all the Imperial ships they'd stolen already and go off and just be mercenaries in a different part of the Outer Rim. So a big faction of the Night Owls are still out there somewhere, and they're going to track them down, try to win them over too, probably using Mando and the Darksaber as well, now that Bo-Katan is working with Mando more. But as you can see in all the trailer footage so far and all the previous episodes, nothing Mando has said up to this point makes it seem like he cares about retaking the planet Mandalore. He's not thinking about becoming the new Mandalore leader of their people, because the leader of their people who wields the Darksaber, per their rules, is called the new Mandalore after Mandalore the Great. Up to this point, Mando had just been thinking about reclaiming his honor, bathing in the living waters, and going back to regular bounty hunting work. So I think the idea is in episode 4 and future episodes, Bo-Katan will slowly start to try and win him over to her line of thought, and they'll try to balance out the armor's beliefs with Bo-Katan's beliefs. And the big dichotomy there is that the armor also hadn't really thought about retaking the planet yet. She believed that Mandalore had been cursed and even told Mando it wasn't possible to win his honor back, like, nope, you can't do it, and he proved her wrong, so she'll probably start to come around on Bo-Katan's line of thought by the end of the season too, like maybe we can fight the Empire and retake the planet. So for those people that are wondering if Bo-Katan is doing something kind of shady, like slowly trying to take over the Armor's group, I don't think that's exactly what she has planned right now. I do think she and the Armor will wind up fighting at some point for different reasons, because she's only starting to believe in their customs and legends, but I think it'll be more over just basic differences of opinion, like this is what we should be doing. There's a bunch of new trailer footage of all the Mandalorians from the Armor's group going on a mission together on what seems like the same planet. At least the terrain from the planet seems the same. You see them all using their jetpacks together. So it seems like they do start going on missions together, and Bo-Katan starts working with them on the same missions. But like I said, the next big step for them is to win the support of the Night Owls. Like, we have this whole other faction with a bunch of Imperial ships, a bunch of power. We could use the extra juice from their group to fight the Empire. But right now, the Armor's group isn't really thinking about that. So Bo-Katan has to slowly win them over to that idea, like, it's totally possible we can fight the Empire as long as we have all the Mandalorians together, and we have somebody who has the Darksaber right now. I do think they will actually go back to the planet Mandalore at some point and get that mythosaur. Like, they will ride that mythosaur at some point. I also don't think that she was hiding the knowledge of the mythosaur for shady reasons. I think it's just her slowly trying to think things through in her head, like, what does this all mean? Is this all true? All these legends and myths about our people. We also see some more footage of Mando flying in his Naboo starfighter dogfighting with Gorian shards, pirate ships. Mando destroyed some of his ships and escaped at the end of episode 1, so of course he was going to come back. There's also rumors that Gorian Shard character is going to be a bigger villain during the Star Wars Skeleton Crew series later this year. Like, the Star Wars people have bigger plans for the Gorian Shard character to make him a bigger villain in future series. The Skeleton Crew series is that Jude Law series, which is also meant to be a spin-off of The Mandalorian, but it's supposed to cover an entirely different part of the galaxy. For those of you thinking there's some secret connection between Bo-Katan and the Armor, I definitely think that you're onto something. I do think that they have history together, because the Armor knew exactly who she was when she stepped into the room, like, hello, Bo-Katan, we meet again. There's lots of theories about them being biologically related. I talked about that in my episode 3 video, because during the Clone Wars, they teased that Bo-Katan and Satine had a mystery third sister that they never really explained. The whole idea is that Korkie was their nephew, meaning that they had to have another sister, and they just never followed up on that. So sort of an open plot thread for them to play with during the events of The Mandalorian if they want to. It's also possible the Armor is just someone who is really close to Bo-Katan, even if they're not part of the same family. I talked about the Easter eggs with the Paz Vizsla character, who's Jon Favreau's new character, and the connection to pre-Vizsla during the Clone Wars with Bo-Katan, so that's why the pre-Vizsla character was staring at Bo-Katan so much during episode 3. Just because he remembers her, probably from the events of the Clone Wars and her connection with his either father or relative. They'll probably have some fight later this season, like they're probably teasing some conflict between the two of them. Also, episode 4, I don't know that they'll follow up on this till episode 5 or future episodes, but on the Empire side of things, we have that cliffhanger where they follow up on Moff Gideon's escape plan with the help of Elia Kane. I explained her long-term plan. She'd been planning to throw Dr. Purging under the bus to get herself closer to where Moff Gideon is being held inside the New Republic so that she can help him escape. They also have to explain more of what's going on with Grand Admiral Thrawn and Ahsoka this season. The Ahsoka storyline is tied to the Thrawn storyline, as is the Ezra Bridger storyline, but a lot of that they'll probably leave for the Ahsoka episodes later this year. I think we'll only continue to get teasers for Thrawn and the 7th Fleet during The Mandalorian. I talked about that during episode 3. The reason why these TIE Interceptors and the TIE Bombers probably belong to Thrawn's 7th Fleet is because there's way too many of them to be Moff Gideon's forces. Most of those were taken by the New Republic after he was captured at the end of Season 2. So all the extra Imperial forces like this giant mystery fleet would belong to Thrawn. When we see Ahsoka and maybe Sabine Wren show up this season in cameo scenes, they'll probably explain Thrawn's return a little bit more, Ezra Bridger's return, and just help set up the Ahsoka episodes. But I'm not expecting to see Thrawn on screen or Ezra Bridger on screen like the live-action versions of the characters until the Ahsoka episodes. We'll see, though. There's always a chance that they could cameo, too. I just did a big Thrawn video about what's going on with him in this part of the galaxy, how he was able to return from the unknown regions, and what his backstory is in the live-action Star Wars universe now. So I'll link that at the end of this and down in the description below. But if there's any questions you have or any Easter eggs you spotted in the trailer so far or cliffhangers that you're not sure about, just write them below in the comments and I'll address them in my future bonus videos. I've got a couple more planned this week, and my full Season 3 Episode 4 video will post next week after they release it. Make sure you enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that. Everyone click here for my full Mandalorian Season 3 Episode 3 video, and click here to learn what's going on with Grand Admiral Thrawn right now on The Mandalorian. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and this is the way.